Whether you like him or not, I personally really only liked Billy Madison was okay, but it was Happy Gilmore that was really the slapstick comedy film that I enjoyed. And it wasn't even so much about the fact that I liked Adam Sandler as the lead actor. In fact, I don't think he is a lead actor in any way. I think he's maybe in some respects, much as it was in his heyday at the height of what was considered the best years, or at least some of the best years in the history of SNL, was a side player along with Chris Farley, Phil Hartman, Tim Meadows, Julius Sweeney, David Spade. Those days when he could be Mr. Liberace, that was fun and funny. Then he got a little drunk with money and power, and he went to the moon in terms of his success. And then he was just churning out silly movie, more silly movie, shitty movie, really shitty movie, super shitty movie, and downright detestable movie. But there's a little secret that got, we'll just say, unnoticed over the years. Yes, he is a very big supporter of the state of Israel. Yes, he has been stone silent on the Palestinian genocide. In addition, one has to ask themselves, for an actor and producer, he has his own production company, Happy Madison Productions. You have to ask yourself, for somebody with rare exceptions, The Wedding Singer had decent reviews. I believe Punch Drunk Love did okay. But for the most part, his movies were not heralded. They were very, let's just say, cheap in terms of effort. It's an excuse to get friends and family together, make a few bucks. And you have to ask yourselves, when it seems like anybody else would be doing the exact same thing, that they would be ruined. There is no way. Sandler's not that talented. Uncut Gems was a good movie, but that's a once-in-a-career shot. And, well, Joe Anthony mentioned Uncut Gems just now. Yeah. And what's even more incredible is that it never really dawned on me that, well, maybe Sandler has been protected all of these years. Maybe there's something more to it than what meets the eye. Because, again, it's not like he made one bad film. It's not like he made a few bad films. He made probably a dozen or more bad films. And yet, he kept getting the money to produce these movies. And no one ever thought to ask why. If you go back and look at the reviews of these films, they are absolutely abysmal. Rotten Tomatoes ratings in the 20s. Like, universally rejected. And let's not even forget about You Don't Mess with a Zoran. Is that You Don't Mess with a Zohan? Is that what? Yeah, whatever. Point is, I never saw it. I can't tell you I would say the last movie that I remember seeing in the movie theater that was an Adam Sandler movie was probably The Waterboy. I think that was the last one. After that, I saw where this was going, and I was not going to be party to it. And when he released that movie, Mr. Deeds, of which I did not watch, I only asked myself, okay, can it get worse than this? Yeah, it could. A lot worse. So I mention this because it turns out that Adam Sandler is not just a very proud supporter of the state of Israel, which answers a lot of questions. There's also something about his wife. It's amazing what's going on with these spouses that people have and the connections that they have to the state of Israel, isn't it? Well, may I present you with a clip that will give you even better insight as to why Adam Sandler has gotten away with cinema murder for so many years.
Sandler is married to Jackie Titone. She appears in a lot of his movies. We all pretty much know her. But did you know her dad, Joey Titone? A Florida lawyer who defended John Luke Brunel, an associate of Epstein, in 2015. Brunel had been involved in many scandals starting in the 90s before this, particularly because he ran a modeling agency that was involved in the sex trafficking. He even flew 3 12-year-old girls from France to the U.S. as a birthday gift for Epstein.
Wow, that's amazing. I can only imagine why they would not want these emails or the files to ever be released. It really goes to show you that it's not just about me sucking old Slick Willie off. Well, listen, it was really good, and I felt it all the way down from my head to my toes. Let me tell you something. Well, I know I do the best one ever. Totally. This is exactly why I said Hillary can't satisfy you like I can. I didn't say I can, but trust me when I tell you that's what really happened. All jokes aside, you really have to ask yourself, how in the hell does all of this happen? There is a reason that they do not want any of this coming out. They don't want it coming out, and it isn't because everybody's a pederast. It's because, as Whitney Webb has said for so very, very long, and I will continue to say it until I'm blue in the face, we are one nation under blackmail. That's what we are. Johnny, if I looked like you, I would hate the world too. I do need help. That's why I do this podcast. It's fun. I get to express all of my inner feelings that I can't express to anybody else. So I get them out here live. And I appreciate you being here. I really do. I don't care if you're a hater. I'm just glad you're here. Believe me when I totally believe me when I tell you, listen, Johnny, you look like the type of guy that totally supports me. So I'm going to tell you once and for all, I may not break bread with you, but I would most appreciate your vote and your money because I really like my people, my tremendous people. You're a really great guy, really great person. With that said, does this surprise anybody? Well, thank you for letting me know. Good. I've been thinking about getting myself a Glock or a Beretta, just to protect myself. I probably should. And we all know that there are people that are watching me right now, including ones that would like to send the police after me and accuse me of doing something really bad. So it doesn't surprise me. By the way, if you haven't seen the wonderful clip about what's going on with the Israelis in Thailand, go check that one out. I hope you'll have a great time with it. It should not surprise anybody that Adam Sandler has had the career that he has had when it doesn't make any sense at all that he should be this successful. Again, a dud here and there, fine. His whole career is a dud with rare exceptions. When he does a good film, it's like, holy shit, Adam Sandler made a good movie. Well, now we're understanding why this is happening. Now we're seeing it. I'm not saying that this lady, Jackie Titone, that Sandler's been married to for over 20 years, is Mossad or her father's Mossad. But you really got to wonder how, in the name of all that is holy, as Jen likes to say, is Adam Sandler's wife's father directly connected to Jeffrey Epstein? And yet, no one can ever answer why Sandler has had the career that he's had. How does he keep getting that money, despite all the signs that would say, yeah, this doesn't make any sense? Well, now you know. And he's got more to say.
So, we don't need to play coy and assume Joe didn't know, because that happened years prior. Brunel was one of many suppliers. Virginia Jeffrey, a victim, came forward and said that Epstein bragged about sleeping with over 1,000 of Brunel's girls. After Epstein's death, Brunel went into hiding because he knew he'd probably be next. So police started investigating Brunel and arrested him on charges of human trafficking, criminal conspiracy, and sexual assault, all involving minors. While awaiting trial, he was found hanging in his prison cell, just like Epstein. Now, a friend of both Brunel and Epstein in this same modeling world was Paolo Zampoli. He was actually Melania Knauss's modeling agent. He filed her H-1B visa paperwork. He even said that she wasn't working for money in the US prior to receiving the visa because that's illegal.
It's not just one nation under blackmail. What it actually is also one nation to the highest bidder. So you could get your H-1B visa. You just got to pay for it. Which is also why it isn't so much about we only want the white countries coming to America. No. What they want, the powers that be, is they want people to come to this country that are going to do one of two things. Bring money and spend it here. Or two, work their ass off for little to no money. And if you do not fall into one of those two categories, you are not welcome here ever. Why? Because we have a broken system. So this should come as no surprise to anybody. Melania is part of the H-1B visa program. Ooh, that's going to be a good segue into the next topic, but this mystery lady has a little bit more to say.
But that was a lie because she actually had been paid over $20,000 for 10 different modeling gigs in America prior to obtaining her visa, which is immigration fraud. Paolo Zampoli, her accomplice, is the one who introduced her to her husband, Donald Trump. Back to Jackie, she started modeling in late high school in Florida, and no matter how hard I look, I can't find her modeling agency.
It sounds to me like Jackie Tatone was maybe a honeypot situation for Mr. Sandler. She appeared as a extra with one or two speaking parts in Big Daddy, all the way back in, I guess Big Daddy was 1999, I believe. And then they got married a few years later. There are no coincidences, not in this world. So as I said, are there any surprises here? Does any of this surprise anybody? That we are living in a country that is going to do everything in its power to try to protect the exposure of this very broken, non-meritocratic system, because it isn't. For some people it is, but for the most part, it's one nation under the dollar and justice for no one.